Wednesday, it is the 21st of May. I'm Monita Rajpal. This is CNN News Center live from Hong Kong. Our top stories today. Nigeria's president calls it a tragic assault on human freedom. Twin car bombings have killed at least 118 people in the heart of the country. The explosions targeted the Terminus market in the city of Jos on Wednesday. The bombs went off about 30 minutes apart, setting fire to the entire building. Officials say the death toll could rise. Well, no word yet on who's responsible for these attacks, but they are the latest in a string of bombings in Nigeria. Many have been carried out by Boko Haram. We'll take you live now to Nigeria, and CNN's Vladimir Dutier joins us now from Abuja with more on that. Vlad?
I mean, well, as you say, over 100 people killed in this latest string of bombings.
They're live from Abuja. We want to talk to you a little bit more about where all this took place. Vlad talked about it. It's a place called Jos. It's about 3 hours north of the capital, Abuja. In Abuja, over the last month, more than 80 people were killed in 2 separate bombings near bus stations. And further north in the town of Chibok, as you know, 276 girls were abducted from their boarding school last month. Islamist militant group Boko Haram has claimed responsibility. Well, despite the international fight against Boko Haram, there are concerns it may be growing more brazen. Arwa Damon spoke to 2 Nigerians who were attacked by its members but survived. This story does contain some images that some of you may find disturbing. CNN has chosen to blur the identities of these men for their own safety.
A few months ago, Maman was asleep in a room with 3 of his friends.
Facilitating talks in Thailand, the country's army chief has called a meeting with leaders of rival political groups and members of the caretaker government. Their meeting comes on the 2nd day of Thailand's nationwide martial law. So far, the army's efforts to maintain a sense of calm seem to be paying off. Let's get you the very latest now on the situation there. CNN's Paula Hancock joins us now live from Bangkok with that. Paula? Paula, thank you for that. Paula Hancock's there live for us from Bangkok. Coming up here on News Center.
This is my first time going inside one of the most dangerous places on Earth.
You are watching CNN News Center live from Hong Kong. I'm Monita Rajpal. Some of the other stories that we're following for you here at CNN News Center. South Korea says its Navy fired warning shots after 3 North Korean patrol boats crossed into its waters. The ships returned to the northern side Tuesday without any further incident. It happened in the Yellow Sea along the boundary known as the Northern Limit Line, which was set by the United Nations after the Korean War. North Korea doesn't recognize this maritime border. The U.S. government is preparing to release a secret memo explaining the legal justification for drone strikes against U.S. citizens on foreign soil. The case centers around suspected terrorist leader and U.S. citizen Anwar al-Awlaki. He was killed by a U.S. drone in Yemen back in 2011. The Obama administration said at the time that al-Awlaki was targeted because he posed an imminent threat. Libya says it will hold parliamentary elections on June 25th. The move could diffuse tensions and rising fears of civil war. Rival factions battled over the weekend in Benghazi and Tripoli, where gunmen attacked the parliament building. Israel's Supreme Court is hearing an appeal against the wrongful death suit of a U.S. peace activist. Rachel Corrie was 23 when she was crushed to death by an Israeli military bulldozer in Gaza in 2003. Her family is challenging a 2012 ruling that found she was responsible for her own death. China's president says his country is committed to peacefully resolving territorial disputes with its neighbors. Xi Jinping made the promise as part of his keynote speech in Shanghai, and he had a warning for countries that might try to counter China. Well, Xi did not mention the United States. As we told you on Tuesday, China is lashing out at the U.S. after the FBI labeled 5 Chinese military personnel. The operator of Japan's crippled Fukushima nuclear plant has started releasing unpolluted groundwater near the reactor buildings into the Pacific Ocean. The move is controversial, but TEPCO says the water it's releasing is within legal radiation safety limits. Despite TEPCO's assurance, fishermen in the area are afraid the released water could poison their catch. So are those fears justified? Will Ripley explores the issue from inside one of the most radioactive places on the planet, the Fukushima Red Zone.
Lifeless, decaying, desolate Japan.
You're watching CNN News Center live from Hong Kong, driving through a river of rainwater. This is what it's like when a month of rain falls in just 6 hours. You are watching CNN News Center live from Hong Kong. Celibacy has long been one of the requirements for those entering the Catholic priesthood, but some women want to change that. They have written an anonymous letter to Pope Francis asking him to abolish that rule. Let's get you more on this from our Vatican correspondent, Delia Gallagher, who joins us now live from CNN Rome. Delia, I guess we should say that this letter has been written by women who reportedly have been having relationships with priests. And so they're asking for the Pope now to say that these priests can have consensual relations with them.
That's correct, Monita. This is a letter on the part of 26 women.
All right, Delia, thank you for that. Delia Gallagher there, our Vatican correspondent, joining us there live from CNN Rome. Let's get a check now of weather conditions. It's been very rainy, humid, and stormy here at this part, at least in East Asia and Hong Kong. And several storms have been soaking major cities across the continent. Pedram Jabahari is at the World Weather Center with that. Pedram, a lot of us have been kept up last night, especially with that lightning storm and the thunder that was very loud.
Yeah, the frequency of these storms, Monita, I'm sure you've heard them. About 10,000 lightning strikes in a matter of 24 hours across portions of southern China with this semi-permanent front that sets up typically this time of year. Rainfall that came down in a matter of few hours. You guys are hardy folks, I think. You guys handled it well. Easy for me to say, though.
Hey, it rains a lot where you are, too, so I'm sure you can understand. Pedram, thank you very much for that. You're watching CNN News Center. I'm Monita Rajpal at CNN Hong Kong. Thank you for joining us. I'll update you the news headlines in just a few minutes.